Hi, everybody. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're not a subscriber and you just happen to find me from scrolling by, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and help me out so I can keep doing this. So, yesterday we all saw the photograph of the huge portrait of Trump that he has hanging outside of the Department of Agriculture building in Washington, D.C. At first, I had to check to make sure it was real because a few weeks ago, something like this was popping up. They showed Trump doing the same thing at I think it was the Kennedy Center, and it turned out to be fake. So turns out this was real. He had this hanging. I'm assuming he's going to be doing this at each of the agencies. And yes, I do believe it came from him. This is what dictators do. This is what Putin does. This is what Hitler did. This is what Kim Jong Un did. This is this is the behavior of a dictator. So Trump is going over the top with this stuff. He's trying to, I guess in a way, he's boiling the frog slowly for the MAGA people, getting them used to this, but they're the ones that like it. But for the rest of us, we're in shock that this is happening, that it's not being talked about in the media because they're focused on Joe Biden. And they don't want to talk about Trump. They're afraid to talk about Trump. They're afraid to report on Trump. They're afraid of retribution. They want access. So you have to look at Trump, the dictator. And here's what I think he might be doing. When you look at the enormous wealth that he's accumulating now, more than he ever has in his life. Remember, he's always been a fake billionaire. Trump has failed at almost every business venture that he's entered into. His father taught him how to lie, cheat, and steal and con people. And of course, there's the mob stuff, the mob connections. And they've always managed to skate around law enforcement on the big stuff. So I think what Trump is doing now is scooping up all the money. He's making more money than he ever dreamed possible in his meme coins and crypto and the bribes. And now he's being gifted jumbo jets by people who are not our friends. And he's now getting contracts to build these Trump towers all around the world in places. Again, bribes. He will exempt certain companies or industries from his tariffs. He puts the tariffs out there, then they come to him with bribes. And there's got to be something in it for him. And then he gives them exemptions, kind of like with pardons, what he does with pardons. Not on merit. It's all about him. But accumulating this great wealth at his advanced age, he obviously the family empire, the ego, that type of thing means a lot to him. But it seems as if, and I need to say this, he does not care if what House and Senate Republicans are doing in Congress. He doesn't care. I don't think he cares about the midterms. So he's toying around with the idea of sticking around for another term somehow. But I think he's accumulating this wealth because he's going to have hideaway islands around the world where he will be safe. He's seen his poll numbers. And he knows that in order to keep up his end of the bargain with Putin, Elon Musk, and a few others who made sure that he won in last year's election, Putin needs to be able to do whatever he wants to destroy America from within. And that means that Trump has to implement all his plans. Trump's got an ego. That's why he's given himself this big military parade. Again, very Putin-esque, very Kim Jong-un-esque. Very Hitler-esque. This is what he does. So he's doing the dictator thing. He likes it. It feeds his ego. I think that he hates this country and he wants to do everything he can to get revenge on this country by destroying us. So by obeying Putin's orders, Trump likes that. Elon Musk got what he needed. He was able to all but shut down the agencies that were investigating some funny business with a bunch of his companies. So he gutted them or got rid of them. And then he goes off into the sunset. And he also gets millions and millions, untold millions in welfare. Our tax dollars go to put, I think I read this right, $8 million a day into Elon Musk's pocket. He is the richest man in the world, the richest man in history. And we, who are not going to there's no Medicaid. Now they're cutting Medicaid. Our grocery prices are going up because of the tariffs. All of our social services are taking hits. We can't even go to parks this summer, the national parks. But our tax dollars aren't going to that. Our tax dollars instead are going to make the richest man in history even richer. So Elon gets what he needs. And now and the data. He wanted our data. And so Trump gave that to him. So I think Trump probably wants to leave the country, maybe still have Mar-a-Lago, but now that he's going to be a true billionaire and a true oligarch himself, again, before it was all fake. Let's face it, Mar-a-Lago is a dump, and everybody knows it. And by now, Trump probably knows it. But he moved there, made that his official residence after his last presidency because he knew that he was in deep doo-doo. He obviously thought that Merrick Garland was going to do his job. And he knew that his assets could be seized, but you can't in Florida. You can't take someone's main home in Florida. You can take everything else from them in these lawsuits and criminal suits. But it's my understanding you can't take the primary residence if it's in Florida. And also New York is a little bit harder for him to maneuver, once he had been a former president. So that's how he ended up spending all this time at Mar-a-Lago. So that's his main home. He spends some time at some of his other golf courses and resorts, but he's going to be building new ones, super duper ones. And now he's going to actually really be able to hang out with the oligarchs internationally. So I don't think that I think he's probably going to want to leave this country because what if Democrats win the White House? What if Democrats somehow find a way to get power? What if some of his own people turn on him? Now that would be interesting, wouldn't it? So what does Trump have to do? Just leave. And when you're an oligarch and you've got billions, you can do that and it doesn't bother you at all. And like I said, I don't think he's going to miss Mar-a-Lago because now Mar-a-Lago is too small for him because now he's a true billionaire and an oligarch himself. And that's what he cares about. So it just seems, things could change, but his choreography now and the body language seems to suggest that he's out of here. He's in the big time with this kind of money that he's been able to squeeze out of people around the world and around this country since he's been in the White House this time. Completely corrupt, completely a criminal. He knows it. He knows we know it. And he doesn't seem to be doing a lot to even get the MAGA cult to side with him on this. He doesn't care. Okay, so the fact that he doesn't care should tell us a lot. He's got some other plan. I think he's going to leave the country. Now, what does this do for the Stephen Millers of the world? The people who are, I guess, the real brains, if you want to call it by that, the evil behind some of these atrocities and inhumane policies that Trump is implementing. So you take a guy like Stephen Miller or Karoline Leavitt, the truly bad actors in this administration, the people that are responsible for implementing a lot of horrible stuff. They are not going to be immune from the wrath of the American people. And I was just reading about how about 10 years ago, they found this, it seems like it's a Nazi hideaway from post-Holocaust, post-World War, but where the Nazis went to the jungles of Argentina. And we've always heard about that. And there were rumors and speculation that that's what really happened to Adolf Hitler, that he made it to Argentina. But that's what's going to happen for somebody like a Stephen Miller and his ilk and the people that are doing these horrible things to people in our country and immigrants. Their unpopularity is going to soar, and Trump won't be able to protect them. Like I said, Trump now, he's getting enough money that puts him in a whole different category where he gets to kind of float above it all. He can go own an island. He can own a few islands. Stephen Miller can't. Karoline Leavitt can't. Some of these cabinet members can't. They may be rich, compared to most of us, but not oligarch billionaire rich. So what are they going to do? Are they going to have to flee to the jungles of Argentina? What will life be like for these people, these MAGA evil people who are implementing this stuff. What will life be like for them in a post-Trump world where Trump's gone? He's out of here. And the country hates him. His poll numbers are already really, really low, historically low for somebody like in their first 100 days. The only presidency where the president had worse numbers than Trump in this first 100 days, in their first 100 days, was Trump's first administration. So Trump has now twice had historically low polling numbers. He doesn't care. He's getting what he wants. He doesn't care. I wonder if the people around him who are so loyal to him that they're willing to commit atrocities and break the law and fly in the face of our Constitution, I'm wondering if they have figured out that they won't be taken care of. But Trump has an exit plan. They don't. Now, if we're not in a situation where we can actually indict them and prosecute them and imprison them, they still have to live in this country. Or even if Trump pardons them, gives them pardons on his way out the door, maybe he'll do that much for them. That doesn't change what they're going to face from the American people. They will never be able to show their faces. Stephen Miller already has a security detail when he's bebopping around Washington, D.C. That's unprecedented for a White House staffer. Reminds me of why Elon Musk has to wear the bulletproof vest and holds a 4-year-old as a shield. They know that what they are doing is evil, wrong, illegal, and unconstitutional. They know. That should let you know what their intentions are. They do think. Now, Elon Musk is protected from his money. Unfortunately, that happens in this country. Stephen Miller isn't. Can he afford a security detail his whole life? I mean, he's not going to get Secret Service protection. He's not a family member of a president, former president. There's no reason for him to have any of this. So how does he walk around for the rest of his life without going into a witness protection program type of thing, or just going into hiding? Change his name, change his face, disguise himself. So these guys better think of these things, because it looks like they're not all in this together. They are not. Trump has an exit plan, an oligarch billionaire exit plan. And like I said, it doesn't mean going to Mar-a-Lago, because Mar-a-Lago is a dump and he knows it. So this will be interesting to watch.